we're going to be reading Mark Spark in the Park by Jacqueline Wilson. So let's start off. Chapter 1. Hands up, all of you with a dog at home, said Miss Moss. Mark's friend Jason put his hand up. Jason had a spaniel called Ben who had once eaten a whole lunchbox of chocolates in 10 minutes flat. Louise from down the road had her hand up. Louise had a poodle called Puffball who whined a lot. Mark felt he would whine too if he had to wear a red ribbon, a silly tartan coat. There was no way to treat a dog. It wasn't fair. Mark would have loved a dog, but he couldn't have one. Mark's mum and dad were out at work all day, so there would be no one to look after a dog. There was no one to look after Mark when he came home from school, so Mark always went round to Great Grand's for his tea. Then he got another tea when Mum came to fetch him home. Mark was very nearly as greedy as Jason's spaniel Ben. "Tell me all the different things your dogs can do," said Miss Moss. "Jason's dog can eat heaps," said Mark. "And he's 6 heaps too." "Mark Spark," said. He was really called Mark Spencer, but everyone called him Mark Spark, even Miss Moss. "And Louise dogs whines and whimpers like this," said Mark, imitating Puffball. "Mark Spark," said Miss Moss. "Give some of the others a chance to answer, please." Mark slumped in his seat. He listened to all the other children telling long stories about Whiffer, Bruce, and Rover. He wasn't impressed. "So your dogs can fetch their own leads, open doors, and bark at strangers. But I'm going to show you a picture of a very clever dog who can do something else." "Something very important indeed," said Miss Moss. Mark looked at the big picture Miss Moss was holding. He saw a cream Labrador in a special harness leading a woman with dark glasses. "This lady's blind. She can't see at all. Try closing your eyes for a moment. Now imagine you've got to get yourself out of the classroom, across the playground, out of the gate, and all the way home without once opening your eyes. It would be very difficult, wouldn't it?" Mark's eyes were open and not shut. He had his hand up and was bouncing around his seat. "I know what it's like, miss. My great-grand's blind. She can't go out." "Well, not much." "Don't shout, Mark Spark. It can be very easy to be your great-granny. Now, this dog is a specially trained guide dog. He's leading the lady along, helping her safely cross the road." Guide dogs like this do a wonderful job, but it takes a lot of money to train them. Our school is going to try and raise enough money to train a special guide dog. Now, how can our class make some money? "I've got an idea, miss," said Mark. "Let's hear from someone else for a change," said Miss Moss. "Louise? We could have a bring and buy sale?" Miss Moss said Louise. She liked bringing and was very good at buying. "We could have a sponsored run," said Jason, who always came first at running. "I've got a better idea," said Mark, who simply couldn't keep quiet. "Let's have a parade, with all of us dressed up as guide dogs, with collecting tins around our neck, and we could all have my great-grand at the back of the parade, and we could all be leading her. We could all go, woof, woof, and..." "That's enough, Mark." "It's certainly an original idea, but I don't think it's very practical. Still, I'm glad you're showing such an interest." Chapter 2. No wonder Mark was interested. He boasted to Jason and Louise all the way home. "Just wait till you see my great-grand with her guide dog. He'll have to go very slowly so my great-grand can keep up. I'll train him ever to be ever so careful." "Don't talk daft, Mark Spark," said Louise. "They have proper trainers for the guide dogs." "And Miss Moss didn't say your great-grand was getting this guide dog," said Jason. "She's blind, so of course she'll get one," said Mark. "Wait till my great-grand hears." "I think the whole street can hear," said Jason, munching away from Mark, You don't half bellow sometimes, Mark. Mark was used to talking in a loud voice for Great Gran because she was a little deaf as well as blind. She couldn't hear when Mark knocked at her door, so he had his own key. Great Gran! Mark yelled, flying through her hall. Great Gran wasn't great at all. She was a very little lady, and when Mark went bounding straight on top of her, she nearly got squashed. What's this? The human whirlwind? She said. Get off me, you great lump. She laughed and tickled Mark. Don't! Mark swirled. He was very ticklish, especially under the arms. Give over, Great Gran. Listen! I can't help but listen, Mr. Squirm and Squirrel. You hungry? The teapot's brewing and there's marmite and crisp sandwiches and jammy buns. Wow, great. But do listen, Great Gran, you're going to get a dog. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. My school's saving up to get you a dog. What would I be doing with a dog at my age, you soppy date? I can't even get out myself, let alone take the dog for a walk. That's the point, Great Gran, said Mark, tucking into his tea. You don't have to take the dog for a walk. It can take you for a walk. It's a guide dog, get it? Mark sprayed crisp crumbs in his excitement. Oh, one of them, said Great Gran. Yes, that's a smashing idea. That young girlie I can see up at the eye hospital. She's going to be getting a guide dog. It'll make all the difference to her. She'll be able to pop down or slip out of an evening. No bother at all. But you have to have a guide dog, Great Gran, said Mark, so upset he actually stopped eating. They'd never give me a guide dog pet. I'm too old. I couldn't get out and about even if I had a dog. And I'd have to be taught how to look after it. And I'm too old a dog to learn new tricks. Ooh, said Mark, bitterly disappointed. Oh, why do you have to be so old, Great Gran? That's why I asked myself, little chum. Here, have a jammy bun. Have them both, darling. You're a growing boy. Mark ate both buns and felt a bit better. They settled down in front of the television and watched Neighbours. Great Gran just listened, and then Mark read aloud. They were reading from a big fat paperback called Love Flame. They hadn't got to any lovely flaming bits yet, but there was a lot of love. They were the bits Great Gran and Mark liked best. He read in funny voices, deep down in his tummy for Sir Jasper and high up for silly Mozean, the servant girl. Great Gran laughed until her eyes went beepy. Mark laughed too and forgot about the guide dog. Well, that's where we're going to be leaving off, from Mark Spark in the Dark. Next video we're going to be reading chapter 3. Woo! See you next time. Goodbye.